Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Want to know what's happening in your city? Get Notify Me messages from the City of Fitchburg. Visit fitchburgwi.gov on your computer or mobile device and select the big Notify Me button on the left. Enter your email and/or phone number, whichever is best for you to get notifications. Scroll down the list and select all the topics you're interested in to receive email or text messages about. You'll be notified every time one of your topics is updated. Sign up for Notify Me, one more way to keep up with your Fitchburg government.
Being 5:30, I'll call to order the meeting of the Fitchburg Board of Public Works for February 16th, 2026, held in the Francis Huntley Cooper Council Chambers. Attending tonight to my left, Alder Jetzer, myself, Dave Wilborn. Kim Lobdell is Zoom, and we do not have Don with us here tonight. Also, City Engineer Tim Volker is also here in Chambers with us. Public appearances for non-agenda items, I do not believe we have any. So that takes us to 3A, approval of February 2nd minutes. Do we have a motion to approve?
I so move we approve February 2nd meetings.
Second.
Moved by Wilborn, second by Alder Jetzer. Questions, corrections, additions? Complete and accurate? Okay. Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor of approval of the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The minutes. I'm sorry, Kim, I got to wait to give you a little time. All right, the minutes are approved. Next, we have the report of our Director of Public Works, Mr. Tim Volker, PE.
Good evening. I'll start off with a couple project updates. The 2026 street resurfacing project, we're looking to advertise here shortly and then have the bid opening for that project at the end of the month. The major neighborhood for the street resurfacing this year is Hillside Heights, which is located off Irish Lane. And then another project update is our Fitch-Rona Road Goose Lake Stormwater Project. We're looking to advertise bids for that project in March. So that stormwater project is separate from the road reconstruction project. The road reconstruction project, which is reconstructing Fitch-Rona Road from Tonto Trail north to Nesbitt Road. We're still working through some land acquisition, getting closer on that. So we're looking to probably advertise this project in the next couple months. And that project is also being completed with some funding from the town of Verona. And also a grant that the city of Fitchburg received. And with that, does anyone have any questions?
Go ahead, Bill.
I don't like you to use the word hope when you're talking about the time frame for Fitch-Rona Road. We hope to get it, all the land acquired and get it bid in a couple of months. What sort of time frame would the entire project take? Like if we don't get a contractor until June, is it going to finish this year?
Right now, it's going to be split up over 2 seasons. I would say right now we're February 16th and haven't been out to bid yet. So it's a lot of work to get done in one season.
Yeah.
Also we're redoing the sewer on there, which kind of came in as part of the neighborhood planning of South Stoner Prairie. Based on the sewer we analyzed, it was determined best to run it north, which we had to now change order in the design of the sewer into that project, so that kind of slowed us up. And then the land acquisition has also been a little taken us longer. So really it's contingent on the land acquisition. We just sat with the title company and the property acquisition consultant today, and we're looking hopefully within the next couple, I think April 6th, if we don't come to negotiation with the 3 or 4 properties left, that we would go to condemnation on that. So right now we're in the phase where we have the appraisals done. Now those property owners can get their own appraisal, and once they get that, we would kind of negotiate. And if we can't come to a negotiation, that's kind of where we would start the condemnation process, which obviously is our last resort. We would like to negotiate once they get their own appraisal and move forward from there.
Tim, are we just, is it just the properties on the south side where the homes are?
Now, it's actually around the roundabout.
Oh,
So we're putting in the
houses.
roundabout at Lacey and Fitch-Rona, and that's kind of where the property acquisition is for that. So we had a path going through there that we had to remove because you can't condemn with the path. So that was also another design kind of that we had to a revision that kind of slowed us up to start this process.
Will the bidding of the discharge from Goose Lake, will that be completed? Are you anticipating the completion of that this year?
Yeah, Ben, I believe that can be for sure done this year.
Okay.
And that Goose Lake project isn't contingent on
Right.
the reconstruction. They're two
Understood.
separate, so.
Understood.
Isn't there a business that's off or close to Fitch-Rona Road that's right there on the corner of Lacey and Fitch-Rona?
Yeah, the Formica property on the southeast corner of that intersection, that's one of the properties we're still working through and kind of, narrowing stuff up there based on conversations we've had with the property owner. And that was one of where we did remove the bike path per her request.
Thanks.
Tim, with the Fitch-Rona Road, are we doing anything with I don't believe we are, going to Tonto Trail. We're not doing anything with the sight lines from the hill, are we? When you go, steep hill goes up there.
I would have to take a look at the profiles if anything was being done to to that hillside there.
I don't think there's much you can do without spending a ton of money. I'm just thinking those property owners might be better for them getting, when they come out that turn their driveways and turn left coming out those driveways, they're taking their life. People crest that hill. There's not a lot of room, but.
But how would you grind it down and
No, I don't think you can.
hook up to their driveway?
I don't think you
That
can.
would be a mess, too.
I just had one other thing I wanted to mention. This kind of came out, a couple things at council. We approved, the Swan Creek, the monitoring station. And some council members made the comment that kind of bristled me, well, it's not taxpayers, it's not going on the tax roll. And I thought, no, it's stormwater, we're all paying it. And similar then when we talked about the Blue Lakes or whatever that was, that Renew the Blue, that the same well, it's not on the taxes. No, it's the stormwater utilities paying it. And then you got on, well, we need to do things better. And I was here when we formed the stormwater district. We have 2 street sweepers. We do I think we're doing a good job. There's always room for improvement, but the one thing I would like to point out is the mayor mentioned, leaves, this and that. Well, we have a best practice. It's work for the residents, but bagging the leaves keeps them out. And Madison this year, with the snow came and the leaves fell late. There were leaves still laying in the street, and they're a hell of a phosphorus dump. And we have residents, their bags are still there that didn't miss the cutoff, but they're in the bags. I don't feel like the vacuum is the best practice in phosphorus renewal, but that's for another day. Okay. Anything else? Okay. All right, then we'll move to our agenda items. First, we have 5A, Resolution R 4826, Preliminary Assessment Resolution for 2026 Sidewalk Replacement. Do we have a motion to approve?
I move approval.
Moved by Alder Jetser. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Kim. So we see the list of the 2026 where the sidewalks are being replaced. Fairly big list. Is it about comparable to last year what we did, the amount?
And last year, we actually didn't have a sidewalk replacement in 2025. We were still wrapping up the 2024.
Okay.
So we kind of rolled in 2 years worth into
Okay.
this. So it's, and I believe 2024 may have been 2 years. So that those two projects are probably comparable.
I thought it looked a little big. Anyone as you know, like Bill or me, that's riding around, or anyone that walks, you see where the city has marked the sidewalks where they're cracked, or there's a lip or whatever. Who goes around and does that?
So that'll be our right-of-way project engineer, Zach Laundrie.
Okay.
He's the project manager, or it would be our engineering technicians, Sam Hageman. And those two kind of, whether we get an email, it's our public works staff out on the street, phone call. And then, there's a couple areas too. Most of these roads are in the northeast part of the city.
Yeah.
And Cindy, I can pull up a map here on my computer. You guys can kind of see the areas.
Yeah, I was going to ask if this was something that we put up as a layer in one of our GIS maps.
Yeah, we will. Zach is managing the project, just hasn't made this public facing yet, but we'll eventually have a GIS link where they can click on. You guys would be able to see, pull up this dot here. And then here's the actual sidewalk, that we're replacing. And you can click on any of these dots. It tells you the width. This is just a shave and not a full replacement. So we're just shaving down that lip there. Then if we go, see if we can find, that's another shave. See if we can find a replacement. Shave.
I would just ask on Sprecher and Sprocket and Spoke, those ones, there's not a chance that those were damaged by all that work MG&E was doing, putting that gas line in last year. I don't know if we had those marked before that.
I can check with Zach.
All right. There was a lot of heavy equipment, back and forth.
And then if I kind of zoom out of the map, there's kind of some random ones, and typically those are the ones we'll get a call from a resident just kind of throughout the year, and just we add it on to the project list.
Okay. It's good safety, those.
So like here's kind of a bad one.
Yeah.
So even though we're kind of up in the northeast corner of the city, we'll still move around to kind of address these larger tripping hazards.
Okay.
And in the meantime, we've ramped this with asphalt.
Just to save. Okay, I got you. All right.
But yeah, this will all be public facing here shortly. Once Zach kind of finalizes everything, and there'll be a project link on our website with the drawings, and he'll be sending out weekly updates too on the project.
When do you anticipate going out for bid?
This will be after the resurfacing project, so I would suspect probably in April.
Okay.
We might.
All right. Any other questions?
So I see Terra Vesta has a lot of red lines. Are there?
Yeah, I don't know what the red lines. I have to check with them on that.
Okay, so there's no dots.
Yeah, no dots. And there are some marked sidewalks in Terra Vesta, and that's from the builders. So the builders are to be repairing those. So any markings in Terra Vesta on sidewalk is not the responsibility of the city.
Well, I really like having this map publicly available.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
Yeah.
is great.
That's really nice. Yeah, it's really nice. They can zoom in
And Zach did do that for the 2024 sidewalk replacement. I think that was the first year we kind of did the GIS. You know, you can click on the dot, up pops the picture and everything. So
It'd be pretty sweet if this showed up in the March Fitchburg Connect issue.
yeah.
All right. Any other questions on this? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R 4826, preliminary assessment resolution for sidewalks in 2026, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
The motion carries. I gotta take my time here. I'm sorry, I'm going too fast. Next, we have Resolution 5 Bravo, R 4126, authorizing rejection of bids for the Area H Stormwater Pond Project. We have a motion to approve this rejection.
I so move to approve resolution R-41-26.
Moved by Member Wilborn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Jetser. Ben, I'll let you, I would just ask, it sounds like we have this designed, but it's just way too expensive, and we have.
Correct. So this was the pond that was proposed to provide regional treatment for stormwater for the kind of uptown Fitchburg area. So the project was designed, it was put out to bid, got several bids back. It was, in that $3 million range. That was a concern to the landowners out there. So they met and were able to come up with kind of an alternative to meet their stormwater needs on their own property. So we had been kind of hanging on to the bid until there was some level of comfort that there was an agreement in place between the two landowners out there that would be needing to replace this pond with something else that they construct. So we hung out on it for quite some time while that got worked out, and we're now at a point where there is an agreement between the two landowners, and we can pretty much at this point safely reject the bid, and it's actually been long enough at this point where the bid's almost rejected itself.
Questions for Ben? Bill?
What was the size of that Area H pond going to be, and how many smaller ponds are we going to have instead?
Yes, it was one large pond. I think the water surface area was around 7 acres, give or take. And again, that only provided water quality improvements and peak rate, so it didn't do anything for infiltration. So there would still have to be other infiltration basins elsewhere. So what they're going to do, rather than that one large pond, I think the last I looked, they had, it was maybe two wet ponds and 3 infiltration basins to kind of replace that. So, there's pros and cons with having kind of one big pond versus a few smaller ones. One, that's only one thing to maintain. Also, on the same, the other side of that coin, if there's something wrong with it, that's the only basin you have for that area. So, having it spread out between a few, I think is very reasonable given the drainage areas.
So will those smaller basins, those aren't going to be privately owned? The city will still?
Those would be publicly owned. Publicly owned.
Publicly owned, so we still have to maintain them. Yeah. Tell me that me as a ratepayer, I'm not going to have to pay for the design of the H pond, that the properties around there will have to pay that.
Correct.
Okay, good. All right. Makes me feel better. Kim, anything?
No, I guess my only question had to do with it's covering the same area. The smaller ponds is looking at all the same drainage area. They haven't reduced any of that, have they?
No, that's exactly correct. So what they've proposed is basically providing an equivalent level of treatment to the same tributary area as the Area H pond was going to provide treatment for. So it's no one is losing out on treatment or anything like that.
Yeah, there were issues with that too, just with the water table, you know.
There was very high groundwater.
You know, that the pond, you almost had to build a big berm to get much volume in it. Yeah, okay. Bill, did you have something else?
Yeah, so what's the dredging schedule? You know, what's the differential in that, you know, rather than having one very large pond, now we're gonna have, it sounds like 5 smaller ones?
Yeah, so I think it's 2 wet ponds, so those would be the only ones that you would dredge. I don't see any issues as far as like increased maintenance with having 2 smaller ponds as opposed to one larger pond. I mean, we'll test depths as we do with the other ponds, and once that permanent pool depth is lower than 3 feet is when we dredge it. It's about the same area, you know, it's 2 ponds, but it's not like it's a bigger area than the one pond, so I don't see an increased dredging cost to the city with this.
Are the property owners, are they dedicating this land for this?
Yeah, all the land with the ponds would be dedicated to the public for stormwater or environmental corridor purposes.
So I know it's probably preliminary. Have they said what they'll do with that area where the pond 7 was, or pond H was planned?
That's not part of the current No Oaks plat. So that's something that still has to be decided.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on it? All right, I'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R4126 authorizing rejection of bids for area H stormwater ponds signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Next we have 5 Charlie, resolution R3126 approving 2026 through 2028 burn pond vegetation management contract. We have a motion to approve.
I move approval.
Moved by Alder Jetser. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Kim. All right, give us the Reed Canary Grass rundown here.
Yeah, so several years ago, the city reconstructed this pond. It was kind of just a dry detention basin, but they completely reconstructed it. So now it's got a few different kind of portions. You know, it's got some dry detention, it's got bioretention. The city used, I think, vegetated mat where the native seed is actually bound into the mat. So it got all the native seed, but what we're seeing is these pockets of reed canary grass that are just kind of not going away. So what we believe is that, you know, prior to this burn pond project, if you look at aerial imagery, you'll see that this area was just completely dominated by reed canary grass. So it's suspected that it's just kind of old seed remaining in the soil that's kind of causing this to keep coming up. So we're looking at implementing another 3 years of maintenance on this basin, primarily to prevent the spread of reed canary grass, so we don't lose the rest of the vegetation out there that's you know in pretty good condition.
So are you looking at herbicides? Can you pull it out in the spring?
It would be a combination of chemical and mechanical removal, and then one prescribed burn.
Okay. This might be something, you know, once our friends of the park, friends of Fitchburg Parks and natural areas might be interested in helping on.
That's a great suggestion.
So keep that in mind. Okay. All right. Any other questions on it? Bill, Kim, Dave? No. All right, seeing none, we'll call the vote. In favor of resolution R3126, approving 2026 through 2028 burn pond vegetative management contract, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Next, we have resolution R3026, approving the 2026 through 2028 stormwater utility vegetation management program contract. I have a motion to approve.
I so move we approve resolution number R-30-26.
We have a second?
Second.
Moved by member Wilborn, second by Alder Jetser. I'll let you run this down. Looks like we'd be using the same firm again.
Yeah, that's correct. So they did submit another proposal for this upcoming 3-year term of vegetation management. The list of sites is fairly similar to the previous 3-year term, but you may notice that the number of trips on many of those sites have decreased from where it used to be 3 to now it only is 1 or 2 trips. So that's what we want to be seeing, and eventually, you know, all of these would only have 1 trip or no trips and a burn. So we're kind of continuing with adding some new ones. We've got the Crescent Crossing ponds. They're the Wildcat wet pond and infiltration basin. We've got some more Terravesa facilities, as well as a couple other just stormwater ponds throughout the city. So yes, this is for 3 years, 2026 through 2028. It's $87,000 per year. So that was kind of what we came up with. We had a scoping meeting with Heartland Ecological to go over, you know, the plan and what's going to make the most sense. And that's kind of how we arrived at this.
And run me down a typical, you know, say they're 3 times a year. Are they there they come in the spring, late summer, fall? Give us a sense of what their site.
Usually kind of an early spring before you get into the real growing season, where you can kind of see some of the early signs of some of these invasive species, whether it be you know, purple loosestrife or you know, some other variety of noxious species. So yeah, typically there's a early spring, then again in the summer, and then later in the fall. Sometimes that later in the fall might be even early winter, depending on, sometimes we might have some kind of woody vegetation removal, that, you know, late fall, early winter is a good time to do that. But yeah, it's generally going to be targeted kind of early spring, summer, later in the year, so they're all kind of spread out.
Okay, thank you. Questions?
Yeah, do we make an effort to like deadhead these things before the seeds mature? Is that what the summer visit is generally for?
Exactly. So that's kind of, especially with the reed canary grass, wild parsnip, that's very key. So that's something that we kind of look out for, and Heartland Ecological is kind of looking out for, you know, based on, you know, different year, things might drop seed at different times. So kind of looking at making sure that they get out there to mow anything down or mechanical removal or applying herbicide before seeds go to drop. Because otherwise, yeah, you're not helping yourself.
All right. Thank you, Ben. Any other questions? See none?
I have a question. How do you decide which, like some of them have all treatments every year, 26, 27, and 28, and then some of them only have, you know, for one of the 3 years. What's the deciding factor for whether or not you need to go continually for 3 years?
Yeah, so all of these listed on here should have visits each year, aside from a few in Terravesa, and that is just because those facilities they're still being taken care of by the developer. The ownership hasn't transferred to the city. But these other basins will have visits each year. They don't get a prescribed burn each year. We do one prescribed burn for each of them during this 3-year maintenance period. Other than the Terravesa medians and terrace infiltration areas, we have been burning those annually to kind of make them look nicer, if you will. You're not having kind of all that dead vegetation hanging out. But yeah, they're the only ones that don't get the full 3 years would be ones that are currently being maintained by a developer.
Do we ever use our fire?
And I assume this is being paid by the stormwater utility?
Yes, that is correct.
Do we ever have the fire department help us with the control burns?
Well, they review all of the prescribed burn applications that come in, but
No.
they've not completed any. But I like that thought.
I've done a lot of control burns. It's the work is all up front,
Right.
getting a bare area and back and all that. But once the burn itself is kind of fun, actually. All right, Bill, did you have something? I'm not an arsonist,
I
Bill.
didn't realize you were a pyromaniac, Dave.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R3026 approving 2026 through 2028 stormwater utility vegetation management program contract. Signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries. Next, we have 5 Echo, Resolution R4626, amending the 2026 sewer utility and capital projects fund budgets for the Badger Lift Station replacement. Do we have a motion to approve?
I move approval.
Moved by Alder Jetzer. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Member Lobdell. We knew this was coming. We were hoping it wouldn't. Have we had this in our CIP, or have we had money in for this?
Yes, this has been in the city CIP since we entered into the agreement back in 2022. Just that the costs have come in higher.
Yeah. So what's the split percentage-wise between us and Madison?
So Madison is 66% and City of Fitchburg's 33%. And that's based on the prorated by the service area for the lift station.
Okay. So for people watching, currently we have two lift stations, one in Terravessa that went in with that development, and when we acquired the portion of town of Madison, that one came with that. Okay. What's the time frame for completion? Do we know that?
Yes, so Madison would look to start construction this summer, and then construction would wrap up the following summer in 2027.
How are they able to stage that? Do they work on half of it?
That's going to be my question.
Yeah. Big tank.
Yeah, Madison, I believe, had a public information meeting back in November of 2025 to discuss that. I believe they are closing that road. Just with the depth of the lift station, there's about 350 linear feet of force main work. So I believe the new lift station would go to the south of the existing one.
Oh, okay.
And the existing one would remain in service until the connection and switch over.
Okay, that makes sense. Bill, you have a question?
Yeah.
Tim, do you have any idea why the cost almost doubled? Is it inflation, or did they change the design, or?
I know Tracy's kind of been the one talking with the city of Madison, but they're the ones that hired an MSA for this, and really the reason I'm not sure why, because I'm just reading the resolution here to see if it does specify kind of the cost.
Yeah, it said that their preliminary estimates were between $700,000 and $800,000, and now they're at like 1.65 or 1.66 million dollars.
Well, and there was an estimate in between there too of 1.2 million.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, the force main work, I don't know if that was originally scoped and they, determined to do that since they are in the area. Obviously costs have somewhat played a role with the increase, but I think that the force main too was something that got included later on versus, when this was originally anticipated.
Well, when we added them, we knew it was there for the replacement. I assumed it'd be kind of replaced in place, your pumps and, that you would, and not a completely new station. So the fact that it's substantially higher, and then with the new station, you had to do force main work to get it there.
I believe the existing station was put back in place in 1960. So, you're 60 plus years on it.
You probably can't do anything with that.
It's also a dry well, wet well system, which typically isn't utilized anymore. The confined space to work on the pumps is an issue. So I think a lot of that price increase just had to do with the full redesign of then going just to a wet well system and kind of the complexities of the excavation of the wet well and the force main work. So,
does that force main also date back to 1960?
I do not know that.
What's the typical life of something that's got to have, a pressurized pipe rather than something fed by gravity?
Pressurized pipe, I would say 40, 50 years. So if it was from 1960, it's getting up there. I would suspect it was probably replaced between the time they installed the lift station and now at some point, or at least a minimum repaired.
So 40 to 60 years from now, do we expect that a new lift station will go in on the site of the one that's going to be decommissioned? I mean, did they just flip back and forth rather than find a third site in the future?
Well, or you can line lift station. Florida lift stations were pretty prevalent. We had 150 in the community I lived in.
50.
You can't. Between the private and public lift stations, everything's pumped in Florida, and nothing's by.
There's no gravity.
Very few areas can be serviced by gravity. So, we would line the lift stations. You could reconstruct it like it's being done here. But, at some point in the future, too, it will need to be replaced.
Any other questions?
So the funds for this are coming from the Town of Madison CIP. How much money is in that? Are you taking almost all of it, or is there a larger sum of money and you're just taking a portion of it?
Yeah, there's still a fund balance. How much, I don't know. But with the town absorption from the city of Fitchburg, from the town of Madison, there is a balance still left in the capital replacement of the former town's assets.
Thank you for asking that,
Do we
Kim.
know of any other things that we anticipate are going to have to be used from that? Or is it just that as it happens?
I know we have utilized, from the town of Madison, like for plow trucks. I believe one of our new plow trucks, we did utilize some town of Madison funds since that truck would be utilized up in that area. I'm trying to think some other public works areas where the town's funds have been supplemented to. Besides the plow truck, nothing's coming to mind right now.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R 4626, amending 2026 sewer utility capital projects for the Badger Lift Station replacement, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Next, we have 5 Foxtrot, Resolution R 4526, amending 2025 general fund budget, utilities and telephone. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move approval.
Moved by Alder
I'll
Jetser.
move to approve.
I'll
Second.
And second by Kim Lobdell. All right. This has no budget effect, if I read it right.
Correct. So there were funds available in other accounts that we were able to move to cover the overages in the utilities for those buildings.
Okay.
Mainly for the funds came from the hub. So the hub was budgeted by the city for a full fiscal year. However, the hub wasn't placed into service until, I believe, November of 2025. So there was 10 months of accounts that we could utilize.
Okay. So utilities, electricity, gas, and telephone service are what we're looking at. Is that
Correct.
Okay. I assume we don't have to pay for water.
The city does pay the
Utility.
City of Fitchburg utility for water and sewer and storm.
Okay. All right. I stand corrected. Any other questions?
So
on
I have
this?
a question. You talk about how much each of these are overrun to date. Is the way that I'm reading it. But we're only in February or March. So what's going to happen if you're only covering what's overrun to date? What's going to happen between now and the end of the year?
Well, this was for fiscal year 2025.
Oh,
so
for
from
past year.
January to December. And really, November and December were really cold. That's where we saw the big bills come in for heating the buildings, and kind of where the last couple years, November and December didn't have the cold temperatures that we saw this year.
Okay. I get it. I understand. It's to cover last year's.
Correct.
Yep. Thank you for the
What about
explanation.
telephone? Why is the telephone so much more? Or what is it?
Well, it's lumped in. It's lumped in that one account line along with water, sewer, stormwater, electric, natural gas. The telephone, if it did go up, only played a small portion of that. It, like I mentioned, was mainly to heat in November and December where we saw. Because we tracked this every month the entire year, and we were good up until like November and December.
Well, you're probably behind this year with January.
Yeah.
Kicked us in the behind, but all right.
So did we make an adjustment for 2026, or should we probably expect to see another one like this if we have another cold winter?
Typically in budget, we've been 3%, but that's something as we work on the 2027 budget, I'd like to discuss more with finance about, the last 5 years to kind of take a look at these utilities and see, is it more than 3%? And if so, what do we need to increase so we don't have to keep kind of doing these amendments at the end of the year?
Okay.
And just for, you said heating was the main issue here. And I see it was City Hall, both fire stations used as fire stations, and the community center. I presume all of those buildings are heated with gas. And I didn't see the library, which has the geothermal system, so I presume that's more of a predictable, maybe, expense?
Yeah, and I know one of the fire stations had an issue with a heat pump, so we had to go and utilize the boiler more to make up for that. I'd have to check with our buildings and ground supervisor to check in on the specifics on how long that was down, but I can report back next meeting.
Yeah, I guess it'd be nice to just have a list of all of the city-owned buildings and how they're heated and cooled.
Sure, will do.
Because now that you mention it, I think I have heard that the new fire stations are a combination of heat pump and gas.
I believe so, and the reason for that's the redundancy. We've been having trouble with the heat pumps and maintenance of them, and they have been breaking down, and when they do go down, to have that boiler as a backup and redundancy to keep the building warm, it has been to our benefit. So I can kind of get a summary together and provide it at the next meeting, and kind of maybe do a little deeper dive into what utilities went over versus how it is heated versus what broke versus. So I can probably put a little table together to show you everyone at the next meeting.
Much appreciated.
Kind of been my experience, that if it's bitter cold like we had in January, most time the heat pumps can get you up to 50, 55, and you need a supplement, to get you up to 68 or. Or
even with ground source heat pumps?
Yeah. You go talk to school districts that have them, and if get a nasty cold day, sometimes they need a little kick, yeah.
They can't compete.
It's a little more.
Tim, do you have a contact at the school over in Terra Vista? Because I don't believe they're hooked up to gas. I think they're 100% ground source heat pump. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of trouble, if any, they've had over.
Yeah, I can see if any one of us have contacts with the building and facilities manager over there and kind of get their take on that.
I bet it's sweater day in there. Cold days. All right, I won't get us off track. Any other questions on this? Good discussion. I will call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R 4526, amending the 2025 general fund budget, utilities and telephone, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the motion carries. Next, we have 5 Golf, Resolution R 4926, approving affidavit of correction to the public pedestrian bike path easement and maintenance agreement and assignment on Lot 66, Outlot 41, and Outlot
The Life Point Hospital is going up in the Lido apartments. And the legal description of the easement area shown on the original recorded public pedestrian bike path is incorrect. So this affidavit's just correcting the legal description for that public easement. And we just need to get that approved by the council prior to recording it. So really it's just getting approval and then with the new legal description having that recorded for lot 66.
Thank you, Tim. How was this discovered?
That's a good question. That Deanna from Planning and Zoning had put this together, so I can kind of
You can get back
check with her and report back at the next meeting.
Bill?
Yeah, I was somewhat curious what the difference was, and then when there wasn't a red line version, I became very curious as to what the difference was.
There's not any cost implications. We're not being asked to get a wider easement or anything like that. Am I correct?
No changes to the width and no cost to the city.
Okay. Any questions? Dave, Kim, Bill? Nope. Call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R 4926, approving affidavit of correction, public pedestrian bike path, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the motion carries. Next, we have 5 Hotel, Resolution R 1826, approving agreement for subdivision improvements in Outlaw 2 and Certified Survey Map 15163, the No Oaks Ranch. Do we have a motion to approve?
I move approval.
Moved by Alder Jetzer. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Kim Lobdell. We had been waiting on this. What details had to come together here to get this resolution?
So this is a pretty standard agreement where the land division ordinance requires the execution of this contract for public improvements prior to the signature of the CSM by the clerk. So we were just waiting on the SIA from the developer. So they were just reviewing what the city standard template for this. So kind of the areas highlighted in yellow in the attachment is kind of what they were looking over.
So the Outlaw 2, I'm going to page down. What page is that in here? Does it show in our packet?
Let's see if there is a map.
I don't think there is one because I looked for it and I think it said
Okay.
blank.
I don't know if that,
Location map was draft
okay.
and no, a blank with nothing on it.
And Cindy, if you could show my screen, I can show you everyone the CSM.
Yep.
So right here's the roundabout on
Okay.
Central Park Place, Lacey Road's to the south here.
Okay.
And then Home Street is what would be constructed, the public improvements as part of this project. So this lot sits kind of on the north corner of that roundabout.
Okay.
And then the railroad tracks are kind of up over here.
We're showing outlot 2 though, in our resolution. It looks like outlot 1 would be what you were looking at here. Am I missing something?
It should be lot 1 is what the SIA is for.
Okay.
Lot one, not outlot.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
outlot
sorry.
1's
I'm sorry.
up here.
All right, thank you for showing that. It was sure someone at council will be curious about that too. Okay. All right.
The title does say improvements on outlot 2.
That's what's, yeah, I'm a little,
And it says agreement for subdivision improvements on outlot 2 in the actual SIA.
Let me just scroll. Yes, then it is outlot 2.
so I looked where outlot 2 is, that road, doesn't look like that road can really serve outlot 2 quite yet. The home street there. The other street there, that one. That could.
That just says general park.
Oh, that's just a general, okay.
Do we normally have subdivision improvement agreements on outlots?
No, that's what's kind of confusing me right now.
I do see one of the I was just looking at the stuff in yellow highlight and section 1.03 multi-use path, bullet point number 2 says multi-use path on outlot 2 shall be constructed.
Because then it talks about the east side of Home Street,
Which is,
according to that map, doesn't look like it serves outlot 2.
Well, I think. Let me.
yeah.
Are you, I'm assuming this is intentions for this to come to council on Tuesday?
Yes.
'Cause I don't want to approve it with this wording unless, I know exactly, I get a better idea what we're approving here, Tim.
And you were showing
So it's
us,
going to subdivide outlot 2.
Right, that's lot 1's the subdivision out of outlot 2.
Okay.
So you had outlot 1 here.
Right.
That's this. And then lot 1 used to be part of outlot 2.
Oh.
However, you're taking it out.
Outlot 1 is only that little corner,
Right.
the little
That's
corner.
this right
Even though
here.
it's right under lot 1, it's got an arrow there, is that right?
Yes.
It goes down, yeah, that one.
This
So
is
the
outlot
rest
1.
is all outlot 2? Okay.
Right. And then lot 1's being subdivided out of outlot 2.
Okay. So then Home Street does serve lot 1?
Yes.
Which is part of outlot 2?
Correct.
It's just confusing the way the map is, because it looks like with where that outlot 1 is, under lot 1, it looks like lot 1 is an outlot 1, but it's not, because you missed that little arrow.
Right. Yeah, it's outlot 1's not that large enough to fit all that text, therefore the leader.
Outlot 1's just that little
Yes.
corner piece there. So we're not approving that?
Yeah.
We're not approving that portion? That little corner is not being approved
No,
here?
we're approving the lot 1 SIA.
Okay,
Yeah, the subdivision of Outlot 2 is making Lot 1, and all these requirements are
Okay.
required for Lot 1.
all right. You got a handle on this? I'm not gonna be there Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess it wasn't clear to me that Lot 1 was
Part of
was
Outlot
being
2. Yeah.
pulled out of, or, separated from Outlot 2.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you. Any other questions on this? I'm
they're
comfortable with it
subdividing
now.
Outlot 2
Yeah,
into that Lot 1.
So, all this,
And all the things that you've highlighted, like the widths of those bike paths and stuff, is it wider than normal? Do you usually have 6-foot sidewalks and 12-foot sidewalks?
In this area of the city,
Why are those highlighted? That's what they were reviewing. Is this,
in smart code, yes.
so is this SIA completely
Okay.
template,
Thank you.
or are there things specific to this development?
There
in
are
the
things
agreement?
specific to this development, like what Board Member Lobdell just mentioned, that with the sidewalk width, the 12 feet and the 6 feet. So that's
Well,
smart code.
Okay, but
But
so that's not specific to this development, it's specific to smart code?
Right, but the code's specific to this
What I'm
development.
getting at is this is not, so this is template, it's just we have one template for, or we have multiple templates, and this is the template for anything in smart code, right? Or is there something specific to this development in here? Has it been tweaked, or is it a completely standard agreement?
So we have a standard template, but there'll be certain paragraphs that we have to change. So like for this specific one, we changed the multi-use path paragraph, the 1.03, the sidewalks and driveway, the 1.02, to modify it to smart code.
Okay, but it's not because it's this particular
Right,
development, it's
right.
because it's a smart code
It's a
development.
smart code.
All right.
But yeah, pretty much the areas highlighted in yellow in the draft are kind of what we tweaked.
there is something unique then.
Yeah, they're small uniqueness, nothing like major, like on Jamestown, where we had to modify McKee Road, Fitchrona, all the improvements out in the county right away, and to do the turn lanes and signals. This is pretty straightforward.
Okay. And this is this gone to planning, or probably going to planning this week?
The SIAs do not go to planning.
Okay.
So this will just go to Board of Public Works tonight and then council next week.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Any other questions? Good discussion. Call the vote, all in favor of resolution R 1826, approving agreement for subdivision improvements, Outlot 2, CSM 15163, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
aye,
Motion carries. Next announcements. Before we go to announcements, Tim, sorry I missed it in your report. Can you send a note to Mark Hoddle, the speed limit sign on King James Way on the north end, looks like it rotted off right next, just down from Williamsburg Way. It rotted off and it's laying on the grass.
Okay, will do.
If he could put that back in, or if he wants to wait till the frost comes out, which maybe it did yesterday, I don't know. I'll leave it up to him, just so
Sure.
he knows about it. Okay. All right, announcements. Next Board of Public Works meeting is Monday, March 2nd. I'll be in Canada. I'll try to call in, but I can't vouch for the internet where I'm at now, Bill. Are you here?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We have a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Moved by Alder Jetser. Do we have a second? Second by Dave Wellborn. All in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 6:30. Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.